Hi, I'm Dan. Welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. Today we're doing a Which is Better, but it's kind of a weird Which is Better because we're theoretically comparing two things while also really comparing two things. We're going to be taking a look at the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Hound, and we're going to compare Hound to the latest Transformers Legacy United Detritus figure. And Detritus isn't Hound. You might be wondering why I'm comparing two different figures. Well, Detritus is a pre-tool, a retool. He shares the same mold as Hound, but this figure is based on the Earth mode Hound, which hasn't actually come out yet, but maybe it will at Target. This is a weird one. We're going to compare the two and see if we can't preemptively decide which Hound might be better for your collection.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
Alright, so this is going to be a weird one, as I said, because we have a real Hound figure right here. On the left, we have the War for Cybertron Siege Hound, whereas on the right, we have the Legacy United, or Legacy Evolution, Detritus. And he's not Hound. He's clearly not, as you can see, but I'm assuming that this is going to be the same mold that an Earth-based Hound would come out on. It only stands for reason. I mean, the original Detritus was a Hound repaint, so we're just going to pretend that this is kind of an early version of the Target one. This is going to be weird. We'll talk about why I'm doing this more as we go, but let's take a look at their vehicle modes first. We're going to look at the War for Cybertron Siege one. And as you can see, it is a kind of futuristic-y looking Hound figure, or vehicle mode. Like the windshield, for instance, is kind of, it is very much a like militant windshield. It's not necessarily just like a Humvee kind of thing. We do have seats here, and there is this cool backing piece which kind of takes up some chunk on the back, adds some chunk to the figure itself. Just spinning around again, we have that nice kind of militant-looking vehicle, army vehicle. We have the nice star and Autobot symbol on here, as you might expect a Hound figure to have. But when we look at Detritus, some of that detail is missing, namely on the back. We don't have that big piece on the back. In fact, we have an open hole here. You can see my finger through it. And while we do have the seats here, the front, the windshield it just looks like a windshield. It doesn't look nearly as armored up as the other Hound. Now, because Detritus is going to have some different paint apps in Hound, we don't have things like the stars and stuff, but I do want to point out that he does have that kind of famous Hound engine block piece on the front of the engine here. That is something that, there we go, we're going to focus on that for a second, that the War for Cybertron version does not have. But, I've often said, as I'm going to say again, I don't display my Transformers in vehicle mode, so I'm going to put them both into robot mode, and we'll compare more from there. Alright, so now I have both these guys in their robot modes, and our War for Cybertron Siege Hound, he just has a couple extra little bells and whistles on him that I want to point out. Namely, first off, while he doesn't have that, like, signature Hound engine piece, this chest piece, it looks pretty good to me. Like, it's not sticking out too far. Like, to compare it to Detritus, it's like, this just kind of looks like it's a leftover engine piece. This looks like it could actually be a robot's, like, stomach. So there is that. Looking at the legs too, Detritus's legs, they're especially the bottom, there's not, like, there's sculpted detail there, but there's not a lot going on. Whereas Hound, he's got clicks and tabs, and this looks more like a robot as opposed to just legs. Like, he definitely has more of that robotic feel to his legs. The other thing that's a little hard to convey if you're not holding the figure is that if you're looking at the back of these figures, yes, they both have hollow legs, but because this Hound has this backpack piece, it doesn't make his back feel quite as hollow. This feels very hollow, very light, very empty, whereas this Hound, he's got a little more chunk to him. And before you say anything about, Detritus having two symbols, yes, he's like a mercenary type guy, so Autobot symbol and Decepticon symbol. He is canonically a bounty hunter, or a Junkion rather. So, not sure why I said bounty hunter. So he just kind of goes to whoever who's paying him more. But saying what I just said about the overall feel of these robots and their looks, I'm going to give round 1 to Hound, because the Siege Hound, he feels like a soldier. He looks like a soldier. He looks like someone who's going to kind of get the job done. There's something about Detritus here that's just lacking. I'm not sure what it is, but I can't identify it, but I just like how this one feels and looks a little more. My second round is the articulation round, and we're going to pull Detritus back for a second. So Hound here, his arms to start, they do go full 360. They can go all the way out, and then they have full bicep rotation, elbows go 90 degrees, and wrist rotation, which is nice. The head does move a little bit. It's kind of a tight fit, but it does look left and right. The waist, you can see it does turn. It will untab the backpack here a little bit, so just be aware of that. In terms of the legs, they can kick forward that much. They can also move out that much. We do have thigh rotation, but not a lot of thigh rotation. It's there, but there's not a ton. Knee bend, about that much. And ankle tilt. And if you disconnect the whole leg, you can get some real ankle tilt. But there we go, ankle tilt. Not so much in the ankle, move up and down. The toes move a little bit for transformation, but not enough that you can really pose them with. So that's Hound. I'm going to slide him to the back. With Detritus, you do have, like Hound, same arm movement, moves out the same, bicep same, elbow the same, wrist the same. In terms of the head, again, some left and right. A little tough because of this backing crest behind their head. He's got the same waist rotation. Legs can kick out. They can also kick out like that. You get a little more, quite a bit more than 90-degree bend, just because there aren't as many transformation bits getting in the way on this one. As I said, it's kind of like that empty back. Ankle pivot, again, it might disconnect this part of the leg when you're doing it. And same thing with the toes. So the articulation is almost exactly the same. You just get a little deeper bend because of less transformation stuff on the Detritus figure. So the upcoming Hound, if we get that Earth Mold Hound, is going to be able to bend his legs just a little bit more. So Detritus takes round 2 for articulation. My third round is about the accessories that these figures come with, and the Siege line was very big on having like weapons that you could put together and make larger things out of. So I do want to point out that Hound does have this rifle that this piece comes off of, so you can add that to like it to make like a ammo stock or something in the back. He also has this shoulder cannon here. It looks nice, it looks cool. It can clip into his shoulder like you just saw, or you can have him hold it as well as a weapon if you want. If you want to get really crazy with it, you can connect all of these weapons to make like a super blaster. So that is an option that you can do. And just to show you what that looks like when he's holding it, there we go. So you can make a really, really large blaster out of all of Hound's accessories. In terms of accessories for Detritus, he has this shoulder missile launcher, which does have the missile that can pop off, but that looks a little weird because then you're left with like a clear tab, unless you flip it the other way, because you have that hole there. But he does have the missile launcher, and he also has this blaster, which is like Hound's like hologram gun, whatever it is. So while I don't think it has the connectability, playability as the Siege ones, if you're looking for accuracy to G1, Detritus is going to win, because if this does come out on the Hound mold, he's going to have the like Hound weapons that you might expect. So Detritus takes round 3 for my accessories. It's time to talk about the price and the overall availability of these figures. Now, Hound came out during the War for Cybertron Siege line, which is, like 6 years ago now? It's become further than I realized. And he's going for about $27 on average, according to Action Figure 411. The new Detritus figure is going to cost you about $25. Only differences from Hound is that while Hound you might have to get on places like eBay or online shops, you might be able to walk into a Target or a Walmart and find Detritus right now if yours is well stocked. Fact of the matter is, if Detritus is released as a G1 Hound, the rumor seems to be it'll be a Target exclusive, And those Target exclusives, especially in like the Buzzworthy line, that stuff tends to get clearanced real fast. So if you don't have a War for Cybertron Siege Hound in your collection, and if a Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series type Hound comes out, like, you might be able to play the chicken game and get it for like $12. I'm not guaranteeing that. As I said, I have no insider information as to whether or not the Detritus figure will be released as a Hound figure. So if you're looking for a Hound, the Siege one is the best bet at the moment for current Transformer lines. I know there have been other Hound figures in the past, but I'm just looking at the two most recent, what should be Hounds. So the Siege one wins out round 4 for price and availability. Round 5 is my 5th and final round, my display compatibility round. And this is a tough one to call because either way, if Detritus were to be colored like Hound, you're going to have a Hound figure. You know, if I have the Siege Hound on my shelf, I know it's Hound. If I have one that is an exact copy of the Detritus mold in those military greens, I'll know it's Hound. I think what it comes down to for me is how unique of a sculpt you want on your shelf. To my knowledge, the Hound mold has only been reused once, I want to say, for that Cybertron Hotshot figure that came out as a convention exclusive a couple years back. I believe it may have been reworked to make that Orion packs from like the pre-war Amazon 2-pack, but you know, redone. I don't think it's a straight up re-release or repaint. I could be wrong. I don't have that Orion pack, so let me know in the comments about that one if you have anything to say about that. Detritus here, if I were to have Detritus and the Hound eventually comes out, I'm gonna have two figures that look very similar, just in different color paints. And again, you know, this Hound might look very much like the G1 Hound if it comes out, but it's different enough where it stands out on my shelf, which this is a hard one to really explain and call. There's something about the War for Cybertron Siege Hound that I just kind of like a little more. So I think the winner for my display compatibility round is going to be the Siege Hound because he stands out on my shelf. He's not too Cybertronian where I don't recognize him, and he still has a bit of bulk to him, which kind of makes him feel like more of a soldier. So yeah, I'm going to go with him for round 5. Detritus might normally be able to swindle his way out of certain situations, but he couldn't swindle his way to victory in this edition of Which Is Better. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you going to be keeping your War for Cybertron Siege Hound on your shelf as your main Hound? Are you going to double dip if you've already bought Detritus and get an Earth Mode Hound if it even comes out? A lot of what I'm doing is speculation. Do you not care about having the same mold? Does it bother you? Let me know either way in the comments below. And who knows, maybe if a Target Hound comes out, if, you know, a purely Earth Mode Hound comes out, I'll get to actually compare these two properly and see which one truly is better. But until next time, I've been Dan. Those have been some Hound figures. You've been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.